Hello, hello, Facebook family. This is Dr. Kendra Davis Birch. I am about to be interviewed with a couple of folks for a upcoming conference for authors. So I wanted to invite you to kind of eavesdrop in on this interview. So I am calling in now. So I am tonight going to be interviewed by a couple of ladies who just wanted to talk with me about authors and anything that I may have to share as far as knowledge or anything like that for upcoming authors. So you all know I definitely am in the business of sharing knowledge, experience, strength, and hope with others. So this is your opportunity to eavesdrop in on the interview. So just stand by. You all will be my special guest.
The recording has started. Please announce yourself.
Great evening. This is Kendra Davis.
Hi, Kendra. This is Michelle. How are you?
I'm good. I can barely hear you.
Hang on. Let's see. I can try and turn my volume up. My volume is maximum.
Okay, I can hear you good now.
Okay, maybe I just had the earpiece in funny. I apologize for that.
Okay. Thank you for the invitation to be a part of this upcoming authors conference. I do consider it a privilege to be one of the authors that you're highlighting for this event.
Well, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to join us. I'm really excited because we get to talk to so many different authors. And it's just really, I don't know, for me it's really cool to be able to do that.
Awesome.
I just want to get situated here.
Okay.
I'm creating a folder for each person. I wanted to make sure I had the information saved in your folder.
Okay.
Nope, I have not made a folder yet. Let me go ahead and do that real quick.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I was hoping that Lacey would be able to join us, but unfortunately she is probably stuck in traffic right about now.
Oh, okay.
If it's okay with you, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. So, just to give you an idea of how I like to do interviews, typically I like a very conversational style.
Mm-hmm.
So, I only have 2 questions actually prepared that I ask for an interview, and then everything else kind of goes out from there. So I'm going to start out by reading your bio.
Okay.
And I'll ask you those 2 questions, and we'll go from there.
Okay, great.
Good?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. What questions do you have for me about anything that we're doing?
No questions at the moment.
Okay, great. All right.
Now, I think you all did mention that this will be publicized on social media, those sorts of things. But you all would just let me know when the conference actually takes place, right?
Oh yeah. So what we're going to do is we're putting together the actual marketing calendar now. So we want to work backwards from our desired date. So we're working through the calendar, where we're going to place things, what we're going to place, and all that. And so when we got that a little more finalized, we're going to have some flyers and things that you guys can send out to your people as well, post on social media, let people know that you're there, and how we're going to make this available to folks so that they can listen in as well. So I would say we're going to be editing the audio and going through that process over the holiday break.
Okay.
Just because things tend to slow down between, about the middle of December until about not quite the middle of January. So during that time, that's when I want to work on editing. You know, it's just like we're being recorded right now. So we'll be editing out the beginning and end. We're not doing heavy editing or anything like that. Just making sure it sounds good and so forth. And then we'll be able to send information out after that. So you'll get emails from us letting you know. And you're on my mailing list now so that you'll get updates.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And if you think of anything in the meantime, you can always reach out to me.
Okay.
So you can feel free to do that, okay? So don't ever feel like you can't reach out to me.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. So let me start out by saying thank you for joining us for this author conference. We're really excited to have you. And I want to tell folks a little bit about you before we start our conversation. So I'm going to read your bio here.
Okay.
Dr. Kendra Davis is a 1999 and 2009 graduate of Winston-Salem State University and a 2016 and 2017 graduate of Apex School of Theology. She's an internationally licensed and certified alcohol and drug counselor, clinical supervisor, and sex offender treatment specialist. In 2010, Dr. Kendra established K Metamorphosis, a Christian counseling organization whose mission is to utilize a holistic approach to inspire others to face their fears, giving voice to their present truth, and empowering them with the tools to heal and recover with dignity. As a result of working with Dr. Kendra, individuals are inspired to embrace all of their life experiences as a student, no longer a victim. In 2012, Dr. Kendra became a published author, and we can take a look at your book on Amazon.com. You've got 5 books already.
Yes.
That's roughly a book a year. What's going on, man? You are writing like crazy.
Well, for me, just understanding that books is a way that I'm able to give my voice a platform. So, and then once a topic or something just starts, comes up as an idea, you know, I put it to print in order to help others and to inspire them, if it's to achieve goals or to help them to heal or to recover. So I think once I started writing, you know, and grasped the techniques of what it takes to write, it became easy for me to develop content for different subject matters and different audiences. So to meet those needs. So yeah, 5 books under my belt so far. So who knows what the future holds.
That's a lot. You are prolific. You're a prolific writer. That's awesome. So
Yes.
I have 2 questions that I like to start out any interview with. And the reason is because I believe that these 2 questions really get to the heart of, well, why you're writing or why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing in your life. So, Dr. Kendra, who are you and how did you get to be who you are today?
Well, I like to describe myself in somewhat like an analogy that I am an agent of change. I definitely believe that individuals are capable of changing and recovering from anything that they've encountered in life. So when I refer to myself as an agent of change, I am making reference to it's like a little slogan oftentimes you hear in churches, that we don't look like what we've been through, but to look at me and to know my story. Not only am I a survivor of domestic violence, a survivor of both of my parents were in active addiction. Against all odds, I was one of those that when you hear people say millions didn't make it, but I was one of the ones who did. So I'm one of those who survived and thrived as a result of the things that I have encountered. So after having learned lessons from life experiences, those experiences have somewhat equip me with the tools and resources in order to empower people that they can make a comeback and make a success out of anything. So when you hear of Dr. Kendra or hear of Kendra Davis, whether it's in the church, Christendom arena, or in the corporate world, in secular, you can often refer to me as an agent of change. I am one that is easy for me to step into a situation and to find good and to make a success out of anything that I put my hands to do. And that's all as a result of the things that I've had to grow through and learn from a child up until where I am now as an adult. So hopefully that makes sense to you.
Definitely, definitely. And you said a phrase here that really strikes me. You said grow through. You didn't say go through. You said grow through. Or did I mishear you?
No, that's exactly right. I just believe that I don't have to take on the mindset of a victim to say, oh, poor me, I'm going through. But once I learn to change the channel of my mind, to see myself as a student learning a lesson rather than a victim, then I'm able to stand in the present where I am, to own even the mistakes in my life, to own those experiences and say, I've grown as a person. I've grown as a professional. I've grown as a woman as a result of the mistakes, as a result of relationships. All of those things has worked together to develop me into being the woman that I am today. So indeed, you heard me correctly. I have grown through some things, because some trouble that was planted in my life, it just was nothing more than fertilizer that taught me how to birth out new things, new ideas, and to make a blossoming bouquet out of what could have been a hot mess. So yes, I've grown through some things.
That's wonderful. I love that. I'm stealing your term, just so you know, I'm stealing that. I believe in best when it's good stuff, and that's good stuff to really kind of wrap our brains around. Not being a victim of circumstance, and being able to take responsibility, and not like responsibility as it's our fault necessarily, because you can't control what other people do, but responsibility as in our responsibility to learn and grow and move past. That's amazing.
Right. And then when you begin to see the people or the situation as the teacher and not someone or something that have violated you or something that have misused you and abused you, but when you see it and perceive it as a teacher, that this situation has taught me something that I could have never learned in a book, that this situation, this encounter has taught me something, honey, when you learn the lesson, then you can grow. But until you learn the lesson, I'm just talking about Kendra now. Until I learned the lesson, I kept repeating the same chapters, repeating the same tests in my life, and kept having the same hiccups. But when I changed the channel of my mind and began to see those things, people, places, and things as the teacher, and I was the student, girl, I learned the lesson. I was able to pass that test. You hear me?
That's awesome. And that's what you're passing on in your writing, I would imagine.
Right.
So tell me about your writing process. It sounds like you, based on what you said before, it sounded like you spent some time actually kind of studying were you studying how to write? How did you kind of get yourself into the mindset of, okay, now I know how to put this together? Through your education, or was that outside where you kind of went and tried things out? How did you come to the point where you're like able to write a book?
Well, I have to be honest. I was like one of them bootstraps to big time, bootlegging. I didn't know a whole lot. It was through trial and error. My first book, entitled Rivers of Life, this book is a collection of homilies and sermons. So basically what I did was I took several different sermons that I have been preaching, women's conferences, empowerment summits. I took those CDs and actually someone transcribed those CDs for me and actually put them in the book. So once that first book was printed, it's 44 different sermons. So that book is printed somewhat as a daily devotional. That book built my momentum to say, man, I'm a published author. So from that book, I then began to start looking at different things. So the second book, No More Discounts, is a collection of lessons that I learned living single. So what I did was I actually took just a simple process. I took the alphabets from A to Z. And I began to think about the toxic relationships and different things that I have gone through in life and what was the lessons that I learned. So each one of those letters has a different lesson. And so when I began to sit and to write, I call it dumping. So I wasn't trying to write for perfection, but I was just writing to get it out of me, if that makes sense. So writing, and then I went back and trimmed the fat and cut some things out. So if it was some areas that I still sounded like the victim and I hadn't really healed in that area, then I went back and edited those things. So part of my writing process, first of all, is to dump, to get the content out, and then go back and make revisions. So I typically always outline the content. Even before I start writing the chapters, I outline, well, first, before I even go there, I ask myself, what is the purpose of this book? Who is my target audience? Who am I writing for? And then what is it that I want my readers or my audience to walk away with? You know, I didn't want to write stuff that was going to leave the person feeling broke, busted, and disgusted. I wanted my content to be things that empower, that inspire, and that uplifted people. That even if they started reading the book feeling one kind of way, by the time they got to the end, I wanted them to have a different feeling, a different experience. So with that being said, that was like my first works, my who, what, when, where, and how. Who am I writing for? Who are the people that I'm anticipating is going to be the buyers of this book, or the ones that will read it? What is the purpose of the book? Is the purpose of the book to help them? Is it to inspire them? And then also, what is the takeaway that as a result of reading this book? And then from there, those was like my honest truths, my foundation. From there, I would actually go and start outlining or just jotting down titles of chapters. So and I wouldn't have like a sequential order. I would just dump out titles of different little nuggets. And then from there, begin to organize it in a way that I would see fit, that will make sense for the rhythm of the book. I guess that's a good word for it, the rhythm of it. What was the flow that I wanted the book to flow in, and not to be like choppy or whatnot. So I will always just try to dump first, then organize, and then go back and edit, those sorts of things.
So it sounds like you go through a rewrite process, which is something that, as an editor, I tell people all the time. Your first version of the book isn't the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rewrite. And it sounds like you go through possibly several rewrite processes where you're going through the manuscript, you're checking for inconsistency or where something's not strong, you're rewriting sections. Am I hearing you correctly? That's
correct. Yes. Like with No More Discounts, for example, that is more like a self-help book. So after you read the lesson in the book, the way the format is set up, it's a place for the person to write and to begin to journal their thoughts and what came up for them. So it's almost like a counseling session in a book. Because some folks, they don't really attend counseling, but they could take No More Discounts and begin to heal and to recover. So I wanted to make sure from chapter to chapter that it was the same. The lesson, a place for them to write and to journal and to reflect, and then what their takeaway was. So the format and just making sure everything flowed was something interactive, that it was an interactive book for them to interact with me as the author, because most folks say they read my books as if I'm right there talking to them. So I wanted to make sure that it was interactive, they could participate in their own recovery. I just believe that oftentimes people, I am my own rescue. So when we empower people with tools that they can rescue themselves and help themselves to heal, that's a tool all within itself. So as you know, I am a licensed counselor, and many times people think that the counselors have the answer, but really as a counselor, we just create an environment that's conducive for the person to come up with their own answers to be able to process. So that's what I did in that book. That created an environment for them to process and to hash out things that they was encountering.
So are you mostly writing self-help right now? Is that what most of your books are?
Well, no. No More Discounts was definitely a self-help. Rivers of Life is inspiration, like a daily devotion. My third book was a study guide. So in my professional life, I actually prepare other upcoming counselors to pass the addiction counselor's exam. So that third book, I created a study guide / workbook with the content from the test. So I created that study guide / workbook with the content, and I use worksheets and different activities to help the person learn the content. Because some people, they just don't do well with just reading a bunch of content, like an 800-page study guide. So I created a study guide and a manual for the participatory learner. So that third book is entitled It's Only a Test. So in that book, it's more of a study guide. I guess you could say it's a self-help as well, but it's a study guide. Now, my fourth book, entitled Pray More, Talk Less, that's more so just strictly content. I basically took the information from my dissertation. I recently graduated from with my doctorate. So I took the information from my dissertation and I created a book from that. So I figured there's no use of letting all this good research go to waste. So I took all of that information and developed it and put it in a book. I published it as Pray More, Talk Less. And then I created the fifth book, which is a journal that goes along with that. Fourth book is interactive for persons to apply the principles and the things that I'm teaching about prayer and intercession, how to apply it to their life.
Wow, that's awesome. So with each of these, though, they require different formats. How important, you talked a little bit about the format of the self-help journal. How important was it for you to get that particular format just right, and what was that process that you went through to decide what was going to be the best format to do the most good for your audience?
Well, accountability was one thing. I actually contracted with a company called Mac Publishing. So they're a company that actually helps individuals like myself who desire to be published authors. So I use other individuals to help hold me accountable, that the format in the book, that it didn't start going off or drifting off in left field somewhere. So I found a group of people that I could use that could be accountability partners that could hold me true to the content in the books. And then using other people as editors. I can't trust myself because I can read the book, the manuscript 5 or 6 times and didn't even see those errors, but I needed to contract with some other people who could help me, and being willing to ask for help. So I called on other people for editing to make sure that the format was lined up, and hopefully that answers your question.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, and that's really important too, is because I think sometimes we forget we're so familiar with our own words, and the human brain is absolutely amazing. It will fill in gaps where it thinks it knows what the answer should be. So we don't actually read every single word unless we really concentrate. So if you're familiar with your words, you'll skip over stuff and not even realize it, and somebody else can come behind you and catch an error, right?
Right. And then you don't want to publish stuff that then it misrepresents who you are. So I typically like to do everything with a spirit of excellence. My thing is, if you ain't going to do it right, don't do it at all. So in order to make sure I am producing something that is of worth and value that represents me, because my name is going to be on that book. And I don't know whose hands that book is going to fall into. My thought is small books open up big doors. So I don't need this book to be in the hands of someone who could potentially be the next platform or the next big door that opens for me, and then it has errors or it's not flowing right. So I'd rather make the investment on the front end and have some people to hold me accountable in the check and balance. So that way I won't be put to shame, if that book, falls into the hands of somebody and then it's a mess.
Right. No, I think that's awesome. So how many rounds of editing and rewriting do you think you went through on average for your book?
I probably want to say I've got tickled because Lady Leah Hill McNair, she was one of the major accountability persons. I have these nice epiphanies or ideas to pop up even when I'm in the writing process. So I've already submitted the manuscript for editing, and then I have this idea for another chapter. So I would probably say anywhere between 5 and 10.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. But based on my research of what the most successful authors do, that's what they do. They rewrite and edit, 7, 10 times to produce their very best work. So, that sounds like you're doing exactly what some of the most successful authors in the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world are doing. So tell me then about your next step in the process. You were writing, you did your rewrite, you went through the editing process. What was the actual publication process like for you? How did you approach that? How did you decide to publish? Did you self-publish? Did you go with a big publishing house, a small publishing house? What did you do there?
Well, 2 of them, I did everything myself. The cover was very important for me. The abstract on the back, I spent time making sure that abstract could capture, because some people may not even open up the book, but I wanted to make sure that abstract on the back cover represented like an appetizer that piqued the people's attention. And then the front cover, it was always important to me that front cover demonstrated or displayed the overall something in the book. So I would basically spend time with marketing folks, folks who specialize in graphics and marketing, that kind of stuff. So I actually contracted with a different company for marketing, had conversations, multiple conversations, and sometimes I changed the cover a couple times. And there again, I rely on my tribe of people for accountability, that I'm shooting other people copies of the cover to get their feedback and their feel about the cover. So this is my way of kind of baiting my audience, because I wanted to see what are they feeling or sensing from the cover of that book. So from the cover phase, definitely the books that I did do through a publishing company, they did the ISBN, the cover, the video footage. So I even had like commercials built for the first book. So they cover all of that. But self-publishing, I submitted it to an editor, a proofreader, and I actually sent in for my ISBN number and copyright, all of those things myself. So I've had some experience of doing everything myself and also relying on others. But I'll tell folks, it's really better to me if you have the money to invest and let somebody else do all that for you, so you don't have to really worry about all of that. But I definitely can relate to both ways. And then submit the PDFs with the manuscript, the formatting, the ISBN, the covers, all of that, and then getting to a printer who's going to actually print so many copies of the book. And then, of course, after all of that, then comes the book launch. So launching the book and setting up book tours and getting people to book you to come and talk about the books, and selling the books, getting the books up on online, such as Amazon.com, and being able to put your websites and things in place to be able to sell the books.
So I think that's really important. A lot of aspiring writers don't really realize that when they do that, they're starting a business. Like any business, you have to be ready to push and promote your product, right?
Right.
So how have you found that part of the process, the launching the book, the book tours? Do you have a publicist who's booking that stuff for you, a marketing specialist who's booking that stuff for you, or are you handling it yourself? How are you getting those opportunities?
I've just been handling it myself. However, word of mouth, especially with that book that helps people to prepare for the exam, that book really sells itself. That I have not honestly did a lot of publicity or trying to market that book. When people know that you have something of value, and then other people start passing the test, and then they're asking, well, what did you do to pass the test? And they always say, Kendra's book really helped me. It just kind of sells itself. So that's been such a blessing there. But with the other books, through ministry opportunities, I am a preacher. So I do travel a lot and preach women's conferences, events, and church events. So being able to sell those books in the back of the room actually does help. And then it actually allows individuals to take a part of me home with them. And then it opens up doors for more speaking engagements. So using some technology like MailChimp, I recently invested in a software called Infusionsoft. So using those sorts of things, email blast, That's pretty much the only way that I have been marketing a book, and also on Amazon.com.
Very cool. Very cool. So it sounds like you're spending a lot of time learning the marketing side of things for what you didn't know already, that is to say, because you may have come into this knowing a certain amount. Is that a comfortable place for you, or are you finding that's an area where you kind of need to grow?
Definitely, that's an opportunity for growth for me, because I am in the process of seeking to learn ways to work smart and not hard to make this easier, for me, because I really believe that I do have good products to offer, but I need to make sure that the books are being seen, that people know that they're out there, because in my sphere of influence is limited, but I'm thinking about how many other people on the other side of the country that may need a no more discounts, but they don't know no more discounts exist. So I'm needing to connect with individuals that can help me to expand my borders, so to speak. So I'm at a place now that I'm on this quest of getting seen, getting heard, and then of course getting paid, because when people know what I have to offer, then of course they'll be willing to buy it.
That's true. Raising awareness. Wow. Well, Kendra, you've shared so much useful information for the audience. I would like to thank you for that. And what one piece of advice would you give to someone who wants to write a book, wants to publish a book, but maybe doesn't know where to start?
Well, first, I would just tell them, don't be afraid. That would be definitely one piece of advice. Don't be afraid to try. And if you fail, there's really not a way that you can fail, but be willing to invest in your own success. That would be the greatest thing that I could probably offer. Being willing to invest the time, invest the energy, invest the finances, the resources, investing in yourself, because you have a legacy. So if I'm talking to that author or to that potential author, you have a story to tell, you have tips, you have skills, you have life experiences that somebody is waiting to hear from you, that somebody needs what you've gone through. Somebody needs that book. They need that resource that is in your belly. So how dare you be selfish, and how dare you allow fear to rob you mentally, to rape you spiritually, and leave you pregnant with twins named something and nothing. But I dare you to invest in yourself and begin to launch out into the deep and begin to write the book of your dreams. Because if you write one, it'll be easy for you to write another one.
That's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. So what do you want people to know about what's going on with you? You have events coming up. Well, this is probably premature, to ask. Do you have any events coming up in 2018?
I do. Actually, on January the 13th, I'm actually hosting a workshop. It's a 2-hour workshop on a Saturday. I've entitled it Writer's Block Party 2018. So in the Writer's Block Party, I am going to assist those individuals that have a book in them and they just got to get it out in 2018. So this is an atmosphere that I'm going to assist individuals with conquering the writer's block, creating content, and actually crafting their abstract. So this is just a time for individuals who know that there's a book in them to actually come and to be in an atmosphere with other creative people who can serve as midwives to help them to birth that book out, to get the content. So I tell folks, listen, I am not a publicist, I am not a editor, but I am a content strategist that I can help birth out whatever it is that's on the inside of you, that idea. I can be that check and balance and begin to help you to give birth to that. So I do have that workshop coming out in January the 13th, and individuals that's interested can go to writersblockparty2018.eventbrite.com.
That's awesome. And so give everybody your website and how they can reach on social media.
So my website is www.kendradavis.com. You can also follow me on social media on Facebook at Kendra Davis Birch on Facebook. I also have a Square Up online store that you can actually look at all of my upcoming events. You can purchase all of the books there. So I'm looking up that information to give to you all right now, but you can actually always look on that page about upcoming events, to register for upcoming events, and also to purchase the books.
And what city are you in, Dr. Kendra?
I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay, North Carolina. Beautiful state. I was just there last month.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Winston-Salem. I'm sorry, it's taking me a second to scroll through to set this up. Okay, it's squareup.com/store/Dr. Dr. Kendra Davis. So again, that online store with Square Up is squareup.com/store/Dr. that's Dr. Kendra Davis. And you can find all of my events and books, and you can register for the upcoming Writer's Block Party.
Very cool, very cool. Dr. Kendra, thank you so much for spending the time and sharing your knowledge, your experience. And everybody needs to connect with Dr. Kendra. And your book titles again, run through them real quickly, and find them also on Amazon, right?
Yes. So Rivers of Life is a collection of homilies and motivation. No More Discounts. Lessons Learned Living Single is a book to help you recover from toxic relationships. Pray More, Talk Less is a tool to help you become your own rescue, praying for yourself so people won't PREY, praying on you and not praying for you. Pray More, Talk Less. And then there's also It's Only a Test. So again, Rivers of Life, No More Discounts, It's Only a Test, Pray More, Talk Less.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you again, Dr. Kendra. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing.
All right, thank you so much for having me. I do appreciate the opportunity.
So awesome. Thank you so much. Now listen, before you hang up.
Okay.
You are absolutely fabulous.
Oh, well, thank you.
Outstandingly fabulous. And I just have to tell you that. And I don't know if you know this, but I do a podcast called Somewhere in the Middle. And I would love to have you on the show next year. I'm booking dates in March. Would you be interested in appearing on the show? It's a call-in just like this, but it's live on every other Friday. And I can give you a date in March if you would be interested in doing it.
Absolutely. It would be my pleasure. And thank you for thinking of me to open up that door for me to be a part.
Well, you are absolutely amazing. I think it's I love the way you present yourself, and I love what you're doing. So what I'll do is I'll send you a separate email and just inviting you to the show. And if you can just email me back and confirm that you're willing to do it on that date and time, then I'll have you penciled in. And what I usually do is I reach out about a week or two before with some general information that you need for housekeeping. Just the number to call in and the time and so forth. And then, of course, in between, certainly feel free to reach out to me at any time about anything, really, not just that. But I have your bio already and I have your photo already, so if those are okay for me to use, I'll use those for promo for the show as well.
Okay, awesome. Yes, ma'am. And thank you again. I am most humbled by this opportunity. I'm still learning and growing through, but if I can help somebody along the way, then I know my living has not been in vain. So with the measure of success that I have, if I can be of help to somebody, I'm more than willing to do that.
No, I love the work that you're doing. I think it's amazing. And I love the way you're so effervescent. I mean, that's the word that comes. You are absolutely just bubbly and effervescent and so upbeat. And I love that energy. So thank you so much. You really brightened my afternoon a little bit. I was a little bummed out for a minute there before getting on the call. So you really brightened my mood a great deal, and I appreciate it,
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. So look for that email later today or tomorrow. And just if you'll shoot me an email back saying, yes, I'll be on the show, then we'll be all set. And if that date doesn't work for you, let me know, and I'll send another one. Because I definitely want to have you on the show.
Okay. All right. Will do. Thank you again, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much for you all riding out with me through that little interview on tonight. I tell you, that was awesome. Hope you all got some out of that little time spending with me. I definitely appreciate your energy, appreciate you all just being here to hang out with me doing this interview. You all know what? I have never been interviewed as an author. So this upcoming authors conference is going to be like a big deal with people who are publishing books. I mean, like publishing companies and all that. But nevertheless, the Lord saw fit to open up this door for little old me to walk right on in and talk about my 5 little old books and begin to talk about my process. But nevertheless, this has been a learning experience. And did y'all hear? She wants me to come and to do another show in March. So nevertheless, I appreciate you so much, Facebook family, for riding this out with me. And thank you, Jeanette. Girl, you see I had a brain fart, honey. Couldn't even think of the word I was trying to say, but I seen that word, interactive. Yes, girl. Yes, honey. You helped the sister out because I was sure enough at a pause. But nevertheless, thank you all, everyone who joined in tonight just to chime in, those who couldn't stay but just chimed in just to show some love and support for me. So hopefully as these doors continue to open for me as an author, that I will represent North Carolina, that I will represent Winston-Salem, and represent you all, my Facebook family, and our power in a way that exudes energy and excellence at all times. All right, I got another webinar to get on. So I am working on my marketing stuff. So I got to get in that class for tonight. But nevertheless, all right, love you all very, very much. I look to see you all this weekend for the Hour of Power. All right, thanks again. Appreciate you. Mwah.